Hi, everybody. Welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. My name is Jared. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe. There's a new post on Church News, and it has a really interesting quote from Elder Rasband. And this quote just seems to be in line with so many other things that are being said nowadays by the prophet and the apostles about the future of the church. Like when you put it all together, which we're going to do in this video, it's kind of stunning. So before we continue, this is Instagram. Like I've said in recent videos, I'm starting to get a lot more serious with Instagram. If you don't like to access my spreadsheets, or you want to, but you haven't done it, or you find it hard, Instagram is going to be a good alternative because I'm posting a lot of those quotes on here, and some of them I'm organizing under these story highlights right here. I'm just going to keep adding to these categories over time. So make sure to follow me on Instagram. I'll put a link for my Instagram in the description box below. Okay, so let's start with Elder Rasband and then see all the other pretty incredible things that have been said lately. I mean, even as recently as a very, very recent quote by President Jeffrey R. Holland and also President Nelson, just within like the last week or two. Okay, so the church news. Elder Ronald A. Rasband concluded his 11-day ministry in the Caribbean area by traveling to Barbados, where he spoke with missionaries of the Barbados Bridgetown Mission on Saturday, November 16th, about the unique work they have as they serve on the islands of the sea. Elder Rasband served his mission in New York City, and his Eastern States mission included the island of Barbuda, 774 miles or 1,245 kilometers southeast of New York in the Atlantic Ocean. He was assigned to serve on the island for 9 months of his mission as a young man. So, yeah, missions are a little bit different today. I don't know what like the largest mission is geographically speaking. Maybe you guys can help me out if maybe you know, or maybe you served in a mission that is just like really big area wise. But at least in the United States, I don't think we have anything like this at this point, where the mission would be centered in the Northeast, and then it would include a Caribbean island that far away. So that's important to keep in mind when we think about the theme of this video and what's going to be said. Okay, continuing. Elder Rasband shared photos from his time serving in Bermuda, and recalled some of the faith-building experiences he had while serving there, and his observations now as he reflects on that special time. Okay, here's the quote in red that goes along with so many other quotes recently. "You don't even comprehend what can happen in the future because of your good work now. I certainly didn't," he said. Now, I don't think this just applies to these missionaries. I think this applies to the entire church. You don't even comprehend what can happen in the future because of your good work now. I certainly didn't. Okay, so let's move on to a couple recent statements. This is also Church News, published November 15th. Okay, so this is like, these things are being published within a couple days of each other. So the first quote on here is by President Nelson. This is a social media post having to do with the dedication of the Deseret Peak, Utah temple. And he says, "When I contemplate the privilege of dedicating the Deseret Peak, Utah temple this weekend, I am filled with awe at all the Lord is doing for his people. When I was born, there were just 6 operating temples in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. The Deseret Peak temple will be the 200th in the world. Just think of it. It took the church until the year 2000 to dedicate the first 100 temples. And now, just 24 years later, we are dedicating the second 100. The Lord is truly hastening his work. I'm filled with gratitude for the Lord's mercy in guiding us to bring temples closer to members of the church throughout the world." Okay, so major growth, and it's hastening. It's getting quicker. And they're basically telling us, as we read more of these quotes, they're telling us to look to the future. And I've done videos about the temples. I've projected it out. It seems like to keep the status quo, the ratio of members of the church per temple, the church is going to have to grow to somewhere between 30 to 40 million. And I think what's happening here, this is my own opinion, I think that a lot of these temples are being built not so much for before the second coming, but for the beginning of the millennium when there's a large influx of people that join the church. I really think that. Although there could be a big influx before the second coming. Now, in the same article, we have another quote, this time from President Holland. This comes from his visit to the Dominican Republic, which was also with Elder Rasband. So that's kind of interesting. So first we read from Elder Rasband, and then President Nelson, now President Holland. Just a few days earlier, President Holland shared another video together with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Caribbean, highlighting the prophecies of Joel chapter 2, verse 28. Your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions. Quote, and to the leaders of this Dominican Republic region, to everybody that's in on this today, we have to be among that group that dreams dreams and sees visions, President Holland said. Now here's the part right here. Whatever you think the church is going to be, it's going to be a lot more than that. That is pretty powerful. Whatever you think the church is going to be, which I just said, I think that pretty soon it's probably going to grow to somewhere between 30 to 40 million. Well, it sounds like it's going to be much more than that. I'm thinking it's going to be because of the second coming and the influx of members right after that, but it could be something before that as well. We'll have to see. Okay, let's move on. I also think about this quote from Elder D. Todd Christofferson of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. This is on my spreadsheet called Quotes, Common Misconceptions. The topic is signs, and the misconception is prophecy cannot be fulfilled unless I am aware of it. I have this on my spreadsheet because so many times I hear people say, well, we haven't seen this yet, or this hasn't happened yet. Well, how do you know? How do you know what that's supposed to look like? Like, how do you have such a sure image in your head and you absolutely know? Because there have been many times in the past that prophecy has taken place and not very many knew, or a lot of people missed it. So anyway, here's the quote from Elder Christofferson. This is also from Church News. The link is right here. It's from a podcast that they do, but you can read the transcript here, episode 191. Okay, he says, you don't see things unfolding. Oh yeah, by the way, this is from this year, June 4th. So this is also a recent statement. So think about what we just read from Elder Rasband, President Holland, President Nelson about the growth of the church and the future of the church. Okay, Elder Christofferson. You don't see things unfolding that are unfolding. You don't see what the Lord is putting in place. And the people, the key people, and the key moments that are happening. You are not cognizant of all that is going on in the moment. And I don't blame myself or anybody else for that. I mean, we are human, we are mortal, and we have a limited perspective. But we ought to have the faith. I would say to myself, have the faith that the Lord is doing his work, and he can do his work, and that your part of it can be helpful, can be meaningful, and more will come of what you are doing than you perhaps imagine, or certainly more than you can see right now. It feels like they're all on the same wavelength. It seems as though it's like everybody in the church, the church leadership, missionaries, everybody's doing what they can, but we just can't imagine what's about to happen and just how large the church is going to get. It seems like in a short amount of time. I have a few more quotes. For this one, we're going to go to my spreadsheet called Quotes, 10 Lost Tribes. By the way, you can access my spreadsheet anytime. The link is in the description box of each video. The tab that we're looking at is Quotes, 10 Lost Tribes. You can easily navigate to that going to these 3 lines at the bottom left. And then you can just quickly find the spreadsheet that you want to go to. Okay. This one is from Elder Bednar. This is a YouTube video. It was posted by the Church of Jesus Christ in the Philippines. The name of the video is Philippines area-wide broadcast, becoming a temple-ready people. All right, Elder Bednar says, so think of Gordon B. Hinckley in the early 1960s coming here and leaving 6 North American missionaries, and that was it. And look at here, in all throughout the Philippines today. This is a miracle greater than the parting of the Red Sea, and it will continue because of the devotion, the consecration, the faithfulness of the members. Okay, so he's talking about this short period of time between the 60s and right now, the 2020s. Not very much time. And the Philippines is one of the largest countries in the church. In fact, I'm not going to pull up the spreadsheet now, but I think it's the 4th largest. I think it goes United States, Mexico, Brazil, and then the Philippines, I'm pretty sure, in terms of membership. And of course, along with that membership comes all the temples to support that, or to try and support that membership. I have this on my 10 Lost Tribes spreadsheet because I've collected all these quotes about the 10 Lost Tribes. It's pretty clear that in the early church, they believed that there was a hidden group somewhere, whether it was the North Pole or outer space or something, that were going to come as a group. I don't think that's right, because when you go forward in time, so these quotes that have like the color coding of green, it goes along with the idea that there's a hidden group. It doesn't matter the size or anything like that. There's some hidden group of some size somewhere. And once you get to about, it starts to kind of change in the 1960s, but definitely by 1983 with Elder Bruce R. McConkie, you start to get a lot of explicit statements that they are not in a group, that they're just simply scattered throughout the world, primarily north of Israel. So the reason why I have this is because a lot of people will say, well, the scriptures say that this is going to be an event greater than the parting of the Red Sea, and we haven't seen that. Well, according to Elder Bednar, yes, we have. He said it not only this time, but he also said it in Mexico. I'm not going to read this quote right now. It's not really the point of this video. It also, President Holland, back when he was in the Quorum, before he was president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, he also said that the missionary work that's going on right now is a miracle greater than the crossing the Red Sea. So I'm going to stick with prophets and apostles and what they say is prophecy, or what's greater than a previous happening in the scriptures. I'm going to stick with them. And then lastly, let's just go through some of the quotes that I have here on my spreadsheet called Quotes, Second Coming. I've added this column F for growth. I'm thinking of maybe breaking this off and just putting it on its own spreadsheet, like quotes, growth. We'll see if I end up doing that. But let's go back to November 1st of 2018. This is President Nelson. And he says, "This is a global ministry. We are prophets for the whole world, to all of God's children, not just the members of the church." So on this tour, we talked to people in 5 different countries. If there are 200 or more countries in this world, 5 is such a small drop in the bucket. We'll get around, but we'll still miss more than we'll touch. But we'll try. We won't give up just because it's a big job. Now here's the key part right here. We're just at the exponential phase of growth. And this is the only place, to my knowledge, that you can find him saying this. And it doesn't really elaborate, so you're kind of left to assume that maybe between now and the second coming, we're just going to see exponential growth. But I think that you could include the growth right after the second coming. Maybe that's what he's referring to. I don't know. But he continues, and it will continue. The Lord has said, I will hasten my work in its time, and he makes good on his promises. My dear friends, we are witnesses to the process of restoration. If you think the church is fully restored, you're just seeing the beginning. There's much more to come. Wait until next year, and then the next year. Eat your vitamins, get your rest. It's going to be exciting. So that by itself, just saying that is pretty exciting. And we have seen a lot of exciting things in the following years of his presidency. Now we're going to fast forward to December 10th of 2023. President Holland, at that time, president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, or acting president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles, he rededicated the St. George, Utah temple. This is an interview by KSL News. It's on their YouTube channel. The name of the video is President Holland Rededicates Historic St. George, Utah Temple. And he says, these temples are being built for very large numbers of people to be having their temple experiences and making those covenants and changing the history of the world. I added the italics because because when you watch the video, he really stresses that all these temples that are being built, which according to my projections is more than what the church needs, or it's more than what the status quo has been before. They're being built for very large numbers of people. Okay, continuing. Here's the next one. This is also from President Jeffrey R. Holland. This is from Church News. He's being interviewed by Sherry Dew, episode 204 of their podcast, August 30th, 2024. So, young people, I think they are magnificent. And we are in an absolutely magnificent period now. The demographics of the country of the U.S., and for the most part, and for the most part of the world, is declining. So we have a smaller pool to draw from, broadly speaking. But for us in the church, and not just missions and not just temples, but virtually everything we are doing in the church is increasing. So that is, I don't know, to my little narrow head, that seems like a kind of a double win. We're going against a smaller pool and we're getting more success from that wonderful, wonderful community of young Latter-day Saints. It is magnificent. I could go on all night about this, but I should not. And when he says the demographics of the United States and the world are declining, I don't know exactly what he's referring to. When he says that there's a smaller pool to draw from, I don't know if he's talking about like faithful people, like people losing their faith. There's less of those in the world. Like we're increasing and there's less people of faith outside the church that would be attracted to the church because we are faithful. I'm not sure. If you have any insights on this, put it in the comments below. But either way, he's talking about the fact that the church is just increasing and that he views this as a double win and that we're headed in a really good direction. Let's see, the next one. This is from President Nelson's Second Coming talk of the last General Conference. The Lord Jesus Christ will come again. And he says, "My dear brothers and sisters, do you see what is happening right before our eyes? I pray that we will not miss the majesty of this moment." And unfortunately, President Nelson, yes, there are people that are missing the majesty of this moment. They see it as nothing out of the ordinary or special or having anything to do with the second coming, even though that's what your entire talk is about. And you're telling us to get ready, both you, who is 100 years old, and us. Yeah, there are people that are missing it, but we'll try. We'll try and open those eyes. He continues, "The Lord is indeed hastening his work. Why are we building temples at such an unprecedented pace? Why? Because the Lord has instructed us to do so. The blessings of the temple help to gather Israel on both sides of the veil. These blessings also help to prepare a people who will help prepare the world for the second coming of the Lord." Again, you may think, well, he's saying that all these temples are to help to prepare for the second coming. So that means we need to get more people in the church. They need to go through the temples, and then we'll be ready. I'm not so sure. I think that these temples are for the influx at the beginning of the millennium. Like, the church is positioning itself to receive as many people into the temples when they convert in mass to the church. And so right now, yes, it is important for as many people to go to the temple so that, possibly they can be temple workers for that big influx at the beginning of the millennium. We'll just have to wait and see. But it makes me think of what Bradley R. Wilcox said in a couple talks, where he talked about the fact that there will be a big influx, and are we going to have enough stake presidents, bishops, Relief Society presidents, and so on. And I think that you could also include temple workers. So it's like we need to get as many people qualified to be leaders and perform priesthood ordinances for that influx. I think that's what's going on right now. So, but the temples for that influx, I believe they're being built specifically for that. Okay, then we just read this from President Holland. Whatever you think the church is going to be, it's going to be a lot more than that. And then we'll just bring it back full circle. And, no, not that. Oh, I didn't add. Okay, well, then this one from President Nelson talking about the growth that he's seen in the church in his 100 years. And then, yeah, let's just bring it back full circle. Go back to this Instagram post by Church News where Elder Rasband says, "You don't even comprehend what can happen in the future because of your good work now. I certainly didn't." So these are exciting times, you guys. They really, really are. I can't wait to see what's going to happen over the next year, the next decade, by the end of my life, which, if I live to see the millennium, it sounds like both you and I, if we live to see the millennium, we'll be living till we're 100 years old. So for me, that's still a long ways away. And the church is probably going to look radically different by that point. It's exciting. Okay, that's going to be it for this one. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Instagram. Like this video if you liked it. Leave your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. Also, make sure to share it, and I'll talk to you guys later.